in one of the most anticipated featherweight showdowns. The cocky Hamed has long bragged he is the best, while adding his brand of Nazmataz to his undefeated act.
He's not been everybody's cup of tea.
Barrera's trademark is ring relentlessness. The Mexican warrior quietly has taken on the top contenders.
Vicious combinations by Barrera.
Naz's flash may be wearing thin. Nonetheless, the three-time champ's punching power is one thing detractors do take seriously.
There's the power you were talking about.
Barrera's the more battle-tested, with last year's give-and-take war against Eric Morales bolstering his reputation.
Early assault from the Mexico City Star.
It's time for Hamed to live up to his own hype. Will the Prince be king of the division or exposed as a ring jester?
This is my test. This is my defining moment. It's time to prove who's the best.
Barrera has waited 4 years for this challenge to grab the superstardom that eludes him.
I'm going to surprise him and everybody by returning to the Barrera that everyone remembers.
Moments from now, two little giants in their prime risk their own fame in this mega fight battle for featherweight supremacy. Naseem Hamed against Marco Antonio Barrera. Who will win? Will it be the flashy European prince with his unorthodox, unpredictable style? Or will it be the straight-ahead Mexican warrior Barrera, who has been in so many big fights before? Hamed versus Barrera is being brought to you by the MGM Grand, the City of Entertainment, Las Vegas, Nevada, and by TVKO, pay-per-view entertainment from HBO. Las Vegas, Nevada, the City of Entertainment, will see the debut tonight of one of boxing's greatest showmen, Prince Naseem Hamed, the undefeated three-time world champion, taking on two-time world champ Marco Antonio Barrera. The winner earns the right to be called the best 126-pounder in the world. As we bring you inside of this packed arena, stars galore on hand, anxiously awaiting the main event between Hamed and Barrera. Once again, yours truly, James Brown, joined by light heavyweight champion Roy Jones. All right, Roy, let's get right to it. Now, many have been saying that the Prince gave up his belt to face a mandatory challenger for what many consider to be a tougher, more high-profile guy in Marco Antonio Barrera. Your thoughts about his decision?
Well, you know, I think that the guy that he gave up his belt for,
Kovacs,
is also a very, very good fighter. Could perhaps provide more somewhat of a challenge than Barrera, because he's not at the end of his road. Some people see and think that Barrera has had so many tough fights until now he's coming down to where he may be easier to beat than he used to be. So I don't always just accept that reason for giving up a title to say that you think this guy's easier or not. I don't think so, because you don't know a guy until you get in the ring with him. Barrera could be tough, don't get me wrong, but the other guy could be just as tough. Just because they don't know him, those people who talk about how good or how bad an opponent is, they just underrate the brother.
Well, that seems to be a definitive clue in terms then of who you think will win the fight tonight and why.
Well, I think definitely the Prince has more power, and I think the Prince is on his way up. Barrera is kind of maybe on his way down now. Not to take anything away from Barrera, he was a fine champion in his day. But right now, I think he's going one way and Hamed is going the other. So I don't really think he can take the punch that the Prince has to offer. If he does, however, get into the late rounds, Barrera could make it a good fight.
The thoughts of the always frank Roy Jones, and we asked earlier this evening for you viewers to weigh in as to who you think will win tonight's fight. So here are the results of who you think will win. You heard Roy's pick. What did you think? And many agree with Roy that Prince Naseem Hamed, by a 53% to 47% margin, will prove to be the victor tonight in the battle against Marco Antonio Barrera. And you can log on later to vote on who you actually think won tonight's fight as well. All right, for the definitive thoughts setting up tonight's main event, back downstairs once again to Jim Lampley.
All right, thank you very much, JB. And Larry Merchant, Roy Jones makes a fascinating comment there, suggesting that Barrera's career may have produced enough physical damage that it weakens him as an opponent coming into tonight against Prince Naseem Hamed. Let's take a look back at the key moments from Barrera's career and assess that observation, starting with his battle against Kennedy McKinney, the debut fight in HBO's Boxing After Dark series, Feb 3, 1996, and certainly this was a war.
And at this point, he was looked upon as the successor to Chavez as the great Mexican warrior.
He traded shots with McKinney. Through 12 brutal rounds, the fight was finally stopped in Barrera's favor. He was then an unbeaten superstar with 44 consecutive wins, going in for the first time against American veteran Junior Jones. And here he came a cropper. First, the blood from contact with Jones early, and then that right hand, a crushing knockdown. Barrera was able to get up, but took more punishment from Jones. His cornerman jumped into the ring, and he was DQ'd for that. It was, in effect, a TKO win for Junior Jones. Then they met again April 18, 1997, and Barrera tried a different tactic, Larry.
He boxed more in this fight, but Junior Jones could also box, longer arms, and got the decision over him. But remember, Barrera was just 22, 23 years old in those fights. He's still only 27.
So after nursing his wounds from the 2 defeats to Jones, Barrera fought some marginal comeback fights and then engaged in his unbelievable war last February here in Vegas with fellow Mexican Eric Morales. And if ever there was a fight which would damage both fighters, this was it.
Right, and Roy is right about that generally, but Barrera's star had sunk so low that this fight seems to have revived him, because back in Mexico, everybody believed that he won the fight. And he has shown more life in his fights since then.
December 1 of this past year, after he had already signed the contract to fight Prince Naseem, Barrera against Filipino veteran Jesus Salud looked as good as he has ever looked. It's been a long career for the 27-year-old Mexican star. He comes to the pinnacle of that career, his biggest assignment tonight. Incidentally, 53% of you on the website picking Prince Naseem to win. There was a poll of boxing writers here in Vegas. 30 writers offered their opinions from both sides of the Atlantic. 28 of them picked Prince Naseem. Quickly, let's go to Fran Charles, standing by with the heavyweight champion of the world, Prince Naseem's fellow British citizen, Lennox Lewis.
That's right, Jim. Lennox Lewis is getting ready to fight in 2 weeks against Naseem Rahman, the fight in Johannesburg, South Africa. Lennox, the first question I have to ask you is, it's a 20-hour flight from here, 9 time zones difference. Why are you still here?
Hey, I'm used to traveling around boxing at all different kinds of places, and I know that the public wants me to fight Tyson, so they're shouting out Tyson in the background. But first, I have to get through Naseem Rahman, and you know, he's never traveled outside America, so I'm used to traveling.
I know this is a special fight for you from the standpoint of Nelson Mandela was involved. Tell the public how this fight came about to be in Johannesburg.
Well, you know, when Mandela comes to England, he's always speaking about boxing. I promised him that I would definitely come over to South Africa and box and see him, and I'm so glad that I'm able to do so. And it's going to be a great pleasure to box in front of him being at ringside and watching me perform.
You mentioned the fans wanting to see you fight Mike Tyson. There's also another heavyweight on the rise, Vladimir Klitschko. He knocked out Derek Jefferson 2 weeks ago. Your thoughts on a Klitschko-Lewis fight?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's a fight down the line. I'm willing to fight anybody. I don't duck anybody. You know, I'm undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and, you know, everybody has to wait their turn. I can only box one guy at a time.
Are we close, though, to a Lewis-Tyson fight?
I think we're making progress in that. You know, Naseem Rahman is the next guy on my list, and he's going to get knocked out.
Okay, Emmanuel Steward, your trainer, also trains Prince Naseem Hamed. Your thoughts on the main event tonight?
I think Prince Naseem is a phenomenal boxer. He said he's going to knock out the guy that is boxing, Barrera's. And if he says that, I believe him because he's very confident, and he's who I came here to watch tonight.
All right, Lennox Lewis, good luck in 2 weeks in South Africa.
Thank you. Enough respect. See you.
All right, Jim Lampley, let's send it back to you at ringside.
Thank you, Fran. And Fran Charles mentioned the possibility of a possible future Lennox Lewis versus Vladimir Klitschko fight for Lewis's heavyweight championship. If Lewis Tyson is not yet made, that fight could conceivably take place as early as November of this year. Fascinating moments here in this arena 2 days ago as director Steven Soderbergh was rolling the cameras for his upcoming picture Ocean's 11, and for several hours Lennox Lewis and Vladimir Klitschko were more or less face-to-face, shoulder-to-shoulder with one another. They actually stood in the ring and threw punches at one another, shadow boxing. Probably never in the history of the heavyweight division have two heavyweight fighters been in a situation like this months before they're likely to fight for the championship of the world. And there's a look at some of the stuff that went on here the other day. It was just an amazing day-long event. And Larry, I know that you observed, as I think a lot of us did, that the two fighters treated that situation somewhat differently. Vladimir Klitschko attempting to keep it casual, Lennox Lewis not exactly.
Klitschko thought it was a game, it was a movie, and of course it was. But I think that Lewis was sort of sizing him up. Wherever we went around the ring, you saw Lewis's eyes following him. He's seen him fight. He knows that he is regarded as the second best heavyweight in the world. There could be a match down the road. And later he admitted that this is foreplay for an eventual fight.
Certainly he saw it that way. George Foreman, what do you think of the psychological implications, particularly for Klitschko, who hasn't been in the big spotlight the way Lennox has, for those two fighters if they're going to fight down the road doing what they did 2 days ago?
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Really?
Doesn't mean a thing, nothing at all.
But they know each other better now.
Well, that has nothing to do with it. Once that bell rings, it's a frightening feeling that you can't describe until you get in the ring with one another. But those games like that doesn't mean anything. I was like that with Muhammad, you know.
You were?
Yeah.
Playful?
Playful in the ring. But when the bell rang, it was a whole different world.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. And once again, the possibility exists for November of this year. Now let's turn our attention back to Prince Naseem Hamed versus Marco Antonio Barrera. We broke down Barrera's career for you. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Prince Naseem's career, beginning with his stunning arrival on these shores December 19, 1997 in Madison Square Garden, when he went down in the first 30 seconds against Kevin Kelly and wound up winning the ultimate seesaw punchers battle.
The Prince showed a lot of nerve coming to New York, Kelly's hometown. Kelly regarded as the best American featherweight of his time, although he was past his prime at that point. And he was saying then, the Prince, that he wanted to fight the best fighters in America, but he quickly retreated, and now he's first starting to fight the better fighters. Here he is
a year later
McCullough
against Irish Wayne McCullough in Atlantic City, and though McCullough was coming up in weight from a lower weight class, this was the first major disappointment for Naz's fans, as he was unable to knock out McCullough and got a route-going decision. Then another 12-round fight against Cesar Soto of Mexico, who fouled him repeatedly and ultimately prompted Naz to lose his cool.
Exactly, and he could have been disqualified for that event, just as Roy was disqualified in one of his fights for something that perhaps was not even as egregious. But there you see against Bungu, a well-regarded junior featherweight, knocking him out in London. And in his last fight against the local boy from Las Vegas, Sanchez, youngster, knocked him down. But ultimately, he really wasn't ready for a fighter of Hamed's caliber, and Hamed took him out.
So you see here everything that's good and bad about the Prince. The recklessness, the unconventionality, the fact that he is sometimes down on the canvas, has been on the canvas more than a half dozen times in his career, and you see the awesome punching power that so often bails him out. The ultimate high-risk fighter, George. Do you think that he will fight that same high-risk style tonight, or is he gonna tighten it up against a master boxer like Barrera?
I really don't think he can tighten it up at all. He's got that skill of kind of not being skillful, but yet so powerful. It comes with the package. You can't take it away. If you take it away, we don't have the fighter that we had in the Prince. He's going to be the same.
All right, so we've looked at both careers. They're getting ready to walk in just a few minutes. Let's begin to set the table here. Larry, Prince Naseem, on his first visit to Las Vegas, says, hey, this town's made for me. I'm going to light the place up. But will the ultimate showman produce electricity against a master boxer like Barrera?
Well, he sure has the showdown. And what we're going to find out tonight if he has the man down as well. You know, there are as many magic acts in Las Vegas as Julia Roberts has teeth. And what the fans really want to know is the Prince a master of illusion, or is he a prince of punch, a true featherweight champion? Now, a lot of folks, because he has stuck his head above the crowd, because he's an outrageous character, an egotist, want to see that egotism wiped off his face. And tonight they probably will have the best chance they've had so far to see that happen. But he has his best chance of turning the skeptics away by producing a Prince-like performance.
That's what's called showmanship. They love him, they hate him, they've got to see it. George Foreman, Marco Antonio Barrera, not surprisingly for a fighter from his heritage and with his credentials, says that he is going to charge at Prince Naseem Hamed and attack him from bell to bell in every round. Is that the right plan because he might rock the Prince back on his heels, or is it the wrong plan because it's going to put him in harm's way of those big shots?
Oh, he better attack. There's no need trying to box around with a master boxer like that. If you're going to do anything, go in there, create a fight, keep the fight going. Anything can happen if there are a lot of punches being thrown. But if you're waiting on one here, one there, it's going to be that powerful puncher and the Prince taking advantage of it. Jump on him. Stay on him all night.
All right. Can't wait to see it. Fran Charles continues to move and groove backstage here. Now let's check in with him again.
All right, Jim, we are inside the dressing room of Marco Antonio Barrera. We're going to interview Marco. Interpreting for us, as always, is Ray Torres. And the first question for Marco is, he started out at 122 pounds. This will be his first fight at 126 pounds. Is he worried about stepping up in weight, taking on a guy who is shifty and also a strong power puncher?
Tú peleas a las 122 libras, hoy te vas a pelear a las 126. ¿Te preocupa eso de subir de peso y pelear con un peleador de la talla de Hamed?
No, yo creo que no, venimos bien relajados, hicimos una preparación muy buena, traemos mucha confianza, todo mi equipo, todos los que estuvimos en Big Berry, y yo creo que no va a haber pretextos antes ni después de la pelea.
The weight is no problem. We're well prepared. We feel relaxed, and there'll be no beef. Whichever way it goes, we're prepared.
Okay, you fought 5 southpaws in your career, all victories, but they've given you some complications. The latest, Jose Luis Valbuena. What do you plan to do to slow down the attack of Hamed?
Tú has peleado con 5 zurdos y parece que los zurdos te dan un poco de problema. ¿Qué vas a hacer algo para contrarrestar a Hamed?
Bueno, en este caso va a ser diferente porque le vamos a pelear a uno de los mejores del mundo, así es que venimos bien concentrados y listos para dar la gran sorpresa.
It's going to be different this time. We're well prepared and we're going to surprise everyone.
You say that you're going to attack from the outset, go right to Hamed's body, but a lot of fighters who have tried to attack Hamed, once they have been hit by him, they've had to come up with a different plan. Do you have a second strategy if your body attack doesn't work?
Tú dices que vas a ser agresivo, vas a comenzar a tirar golpes de principio. Muchos boxeadores han dicho eso, pero no le ha resultado el plan por lo raro que pelea Hamed. Si eso no resulta, el plan tuyo, ¿tienes otro?
Bueno, de hecho, nosotros vamos a pelear conforme se vaya dando la pelea. Nosotros peleamos como Hamed nos pide y si él quiere que luchemos, vamos a tener que luchar porque es lo que es la costumbre en lugar de pelear.
I can fight anyway. I can be rough with Hamed. I can box him. Whatever he brings to the table, I will go against.
You were involved in an epic battle here in Las Vegas against Eric Morales. Many people believe that you won the fight, even though Morales won by split decision. Are you at all worried if the fight goes 12 rounds? Are you at all concerned that you might not get a fair decision by the judges?
Tú estabas involucrado en una grandiosa pelea con Eric Morales. Perdiste en la decisión, aunque mucha gente creyeron que tú ganaste. ¿Te preocupa eso, que tal vez no ganes una decisión cerrada aquí?
No, yo creo que no, ya quedó en el pasado y ahorita en Las Vegas nos sentimos como en nuestra casa, tenemos mucha confianza, más que nada por la preparación que realizamos y estamos seguros de que venimos por el triunfo.
I'm not worried about the decision. That was in the past. We're well prepared. I think what's going to be is going to be, and it should be a wonderful fight, and I'm going to win.
Okay, Marco Antonio Barrera, the best of luck to you tonight.
Okay, thank you. Saludos a México.
All right, there you hear it from Marco Antonio Barrera. He says he's going to stick with his body attack from the outset. Let's send it back now to Jim ringside.
All right, thank you very much. Larry Merchant, Fran Charles's last question about the possibility of a questionable decision in a fight like this. Well placed. But just to go back to the beginning of the evening, let's once again make the point. Even though you're about to watch the two men who are generally regarded as the two best featherweights in the world, there is no IBF, WBC, WBA, WBO. None of those titles are at stake here. They don't have anything to do with this fight. And doesn't that diminish the chance of a questionable decision?
Well, if it does, because that means that none of the officials from those groups will be in there with an invested interest in the outcome, whether it's conscious or unconscious. This is Barrera's hometown, in effect. I don't think he's got to worry. I don't think the Prince has to worry. I think if it goes 12 rounds, I'll want to see 12 more because it'll be a
That's
terrific
right.
fight.
If this goes 12, who cares who wins, huh? Let's give them both a victory for that. Meanwhile, a few weeks ago, George Foreman made a very telling comment. We were talking about best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, and George said, hey, this is prize fighting. How about best dollar for dollar? So Larry produced that graphic. Let's take a look.
Yeah, dollar for dollar does count in boxing more than anything else. And, of course, Mike Tyson, although his star seems to be dimming as an attraction, he's still the biggest draw in boxing. Oscar De La Hoya, still big stuff. Lennox Lewis, the heavyweight champion, is next. Hamed, who will make close to $7 million for tonight, an extraordinary sum for a featherweight, follows him, and then Felix Trinidad. If there was a sixth Roy Jones up there, you'd be number 6.
Yeah, I think that's right. And George Foreman, Barrera said an interesting thing this week. Barrera said, I'm not jealous of Naz for all of his money and his stardom because it gives me a chance to make the biggest paycheck of my career. An intelligent view. But do you think most of the fighters in the division feel that way about him, or are they in fact jealous of all of the gifts he's been given?
Jealous, of course. He's good looking, he's making so much money, and he's popular. Why not be jealous?
Well, the best remedy is go in and try to knock his block off, right?
Oh, that's right. Or create some kind of action for yourself. Make up something happen when you get into the ring. Get some knockout. Get some explosion. They'll chant and pay you big, too.
There's chanting going on here. This crowd's getting excited. Let's go back up to James Brown and Roy Jones one more time.
Hey, Jim, with respect to the dollar for dollar graphic, Roy Jones said he's not worried that he's not 6th on that graphic because he's got a few other income streams, so he's doing quite okay. But, Roy, going back to the conversation that Fran Charles had with Prince Naseem Hamed, he seemed to have been, Prince, a little exercise at the question that he seemingly was forced into this, like he's been running from good competition. Criticism you're familiar with as well. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are this. How can you force guys to come in the ring with you? You can't force them to. Definitely, we're not going to go out and take our hard-earned money and give it to those guys to come in and give us a hard time. So if they want to fight, people go make the fight and bring them on. It's just like people say, when are you going to fight Darius? When are you going to fight Darius? Darius got one title. Darius doesn't have nobody on his record that I really know except Virgil Hill and Montell Griffin, who might beat both of. So what has Darius done to make me need to go see Darius? I'm the man. I'm pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Darius needs to come see me. And I don't want to talk about it. It's simple. You want to fight, come see me. We fight. And I'm sure Prince sees it the same way.
And the passion you've just displayed seemed to be with control, the same kind of passion that Prince Naseem Hamed was displaying as well. What kind of fight will it take for Marco Antonio Barrera to be successful tonight?
First, he'd have to be able to get around the big punches of Prince Hamed, because if he can get away from the big punches, he really has a good chance in the late rounds. Reason being is because he's such a great body puncher that the body shots definitely will show some wear and tear in about round 7 through 10. So if he can put in the early wear and tear on the Prince's body, stick around for those late rounds, it's very possible that he can win the fight. The only problem that he really has, though, is that a power puncher is dangerous until the last bell rings.
Many people who know Roy Jones know that he's also an avid basketball lover. Basketball hit maybe even more so than boxing, believe it or not, but he's making a lot more money in boxing. I was asking you about the ability to read a basketball player. We can look at a player and tell by the way he's walking, the way he is in warm-ups, what kind of game he has. Can you tell, having looked at the two fighters tonight, Hamed and Barrera, how they're approaching tonight? What do you read?
Looking at Hamed, he has the same usual confident self that he is. I mean, he's always confident. He's very confident tonight. He definitely thinks he's going to win the fight, and you can tell that off top. He sees himself as the best featherweight in the business. Looking at the other guy, you never can tell, but he never showed emotions anyway. When he was at his best, he didn't show any emotions. he didn't care. They called him the baby-faced assassin because he never changed his expression. Whether he was winning, losing, in trouble, scared, he never shows any emotion. So you can't tell.
Although that moniker may not apply now because he definitely has shown the effects of some serious wars, that, of course, being Barrera. In your heart of hearts, do you think that Barrera has a shot tonight?
Yes, Barrera has a big heart. Because he has a big heart, he's game. He's a very skilled fighter. It's just that, like I said, I think he's moving up, and it's a bigger challenge when you're moving up to fight a big puncher. So that's why I lean towards the Prince. But Barrera has been a great fighter throughout his career. He's given us some of the greatest fights we've ever witnessed, and I know deep in my heart that a great fighter like that always has a chance. The only person who doesn't have a chance is a quitter.
All right, and he is not a quitter.
Not by no means.
All right, Larry Merchant mentioned earlier that this should, in fact, be the home turf for Marco Antonio Barrera. But Prince Naseem Hamed said that he was pleasantly surprised at Friday's weigh-in, a sizable contingent from the UK and indeed from Saudi Arabia. So this will not be a distinct Barrera advantage fighting here in Las Vegas. Right now, we think that the time for talking for us is over. Hopefully the time for fighting is right around the corner. Back downstairs to Jim Lampley.
All right, JB, and let's be honest, we are filling. If ever there was a crowd that was ready for a boxing match, this crowd was ready 10 minutes ago. We were ready 10 minutes ago. Prince Naseem Hamed wrapped his hands, and either he or the members of the State Commission ultimately decided that one of his hands did not have enough padding, so it is now being rewrapped. Is it gamesmanship? Who knows? But either way, Barrera is being made to wait. Hamed is getting his hands wrapped. The crowd is getting restless as they wait to see more. So we'll take a moment to show you the kind of prize fight we'd love to see tonight. It took place February 20, 2000, right here in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Events Center. It was voted the fight of the year by Ring Magazine, yes, ahead of Trinidad Vargas, ahead of Mosley De La Hoya. Here's why. Erik Morales against Marco Antonio Barrera.
Jim, this fight was so fierce that I felt humbled by watching it. Almost that they were giving too much of themselves, leaving too much of themselves in the ring out of their pride and passion. Two countrymen trying to assert which one was the better one.
Ultimately, after 12 brutal rounds, it went to the judges' scorecards. Believe it or not, there was never a knockdown in the bout. Erik Morales got the decision close enough that it was not a giant outrage, but most ringside observers powerfully felt that Barrera deserved the decision in the fight. And, of course, most questionably, Larry, one judge sitting at ringside scored 7 consecutive rounds in the bout for Morales. I think it could have been the first prize fight you ever watched in your life, and you would know that neither fighter won 7 consecutive rounds.
Well, we've commented about that ad nauseum. We are filling here.
That's why we're commenting about stuff like that.
We want a prize fight now. The fans want a prize fight now. Because of the anticipation of the Prince's entrance, whatever it is, it will reignite the crowd if they feel deflated by the wait. Inevitably.
Hey, you want to see highlights of his entrances?
Why not?
Okay, this will be a good fill element. George will love this, right, George?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's right, because you love the entrances. Prince Naseem Hamed introduced something new to the sport. Now, it began at Madison Square Garden, where Kevin Kelly waited and cooled his heels for a long period of time in the ring, while Naz danced and dawdled. And this happens at all of his fights, and incidentally, virtually every opponent has threatened to walk out of the ring, as Barrera has threatened to do tonight, and it ain't happened yet.
This is the best. This was the best one, of course, coming in.
Manchester, yeah.
Coming in on a magic carpet, coming in an old convertible, ending it with this flourish every time. They had planned something elaborate here tonight, but the last thing we heard was that the Prince might not want to go through the whole thing.
Crouching tiger, hidden dragon?
Right. Crouching peacock, hidden ego.
All right. Let's do some. Hey, one more. Why don't we get an observation from George? These entrances. I know you think they're great for the showbiz of the sport, but how unfair to the opponent is they have to wait in the ring for him to come in?
Look, you go on and be champion yourself and get your entry. Don't be jealous or knock the other guy. If you're champion, you do what you want to.
All right.
And if they want to outdo him, knock him out, and then they come out with a long entry.
So once again, the remedy is to beat him. All right. Let's go live now into Marco Antonio Barrera's locker room, and you can see that Barrera continues to warm up, fully gloved, hands fully wrapped, eager to come into the ring, but not yet allowed to come into the ring because over in the other dressing room, Prince Naseem Hamed is still not ready to come in. Now the crowd is beginning to jeer as they understand that something unusual is going on. And we give you another piece of wishful thinking. We showed you Barrera Morales. We'd love to see a repeat of that. We'd also love to see a repeat of Kevin Kelly versus Prince Naseem Hamed, December 1997, about which you, George Foreman, just said over and over, wow.
You know, boxing, occasionally, more than occasionally, we need these kind of boxing matches. You don't know what's going to happen next. And the Prince gave it to us that night, along with Kelly. They both gave it to us. Look, just look. And the show, the biggest show, was before the fight.
You know, and the Prince refused to have a rematch against Kelly because he says he never knew where the punches were coming from. That would be a natural attraction after 6 knockdowns. And he pulled back from his promise to fight all the best fighters because of that.
That's a good way to mop the floor in Madison Square Garden, getting knocked down like that.
And he became a superstar in America as the result of that performance. And now you can see a live look at Prince Naseem in his dressing room. Moments ago, you saw that Marco Antonio Barrera was wrapped, gloved up, and ready to go. And Prince Naseem is posing. What do you make of this, Larry?
He's giving us some peck shots. I guess while he was sitting down and getting his hands rewrapped, he feels he cooled off. Now he's trying to work up a bit of a sweat again.
Totally aware that our cameras are on him.
You know, when Barrera first saw him, the Prince came to the first fight with Junior Jones, looking to see what a future opponent might be. Barrera took one look at him and said, Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Well, since that time, the Prince has established himself more like Popeye.
Even his head manager, trainer, is trying to get him to put on the gloves, and he's not doing it until he's ready. I mean, this is some defiant young fella.
Now, who holds the authority here, George? At what point can somebody go in there and say, damn it, put on the gloves, we're ready to fight? That's Mark Ratner of Nevada State Athletic Commission standing behind him, and nothing's happening. What's up?
Well, evidently there has been no breaking of rules thus far, because that Mark is the guy who will come down with a hard hammer. He was down, wrapping his hand again, and he's allowing him to get sweaty once more, which is only fair. But it seems that no one can tell this guy what to do.
The last time we saw a delay like this, it was before Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks, July 27, or June 27, I should say, 1988 in Atlantic City. And ultimately, when they came into the ring, Spinks was cold, unready, and Tyson destroyed him in 90 seconds. Can Barrera be negatively affected by what's going on here?
No doubt about it. When you're going in the ring with a tough fighter like Barrera, you better do anything you can to shake him up for a moment or two. This has been going on since the history of boxing. Delay the challenger. The better he is, the make him delay him the most. So this is nothing different than we've seen throughout the history of boxing.
Some guys, of course, have wound up cooling their heels in the ring while stuff like this goes on. Barrera, at least, has the benefit of continuing to stay in his dressing room.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and the commissioner's on his side. Let him stay out of the way of the crowd. Let him relax. It's not a good home, but at least a home away from the crowd.
Let me get that glove.
There's Emmanuel Steward. Now, as you know, Emmanuel has been spending the bulk of his time training Lennox Lewis here in Las Vegas for Lewis's upcoming bout with Naseem Rahman in South Africa. And the man who's been handling most of the work for Prince Naseem in his daily workouts is the other trainer, Oscar Suarez. There had been some discussion, George, that Emmanuel would leave if he could not be called the lead trainer. But his responsibilities with Lewis eliminated that particular controversy.
Larry knows more about that.
Well, it is a bit of an odd situation in which you have two trainers supposedly with equal responsibility, but one who's putting in all the hard work and the other one who is a sort of an executive trainer and shows up on the night and shares the responsibility in the corner.
That's Oscar Suarez in the white t-shirt right there, who's working to get Naz's right-hand glove on. Quickly, let's jump up to Roy Jones again at the host position. Roy, what do you make of all this stuff?
Well, I think it's a very smart thing by the Prince. He wasn't the one who did not know that their hands weren't wrapped right. It wasn't his responsibility to worry about it. He just has to do whatever they tell him to do. So the commissioner is who elected to have him add extra padding to his hand. Therefore, they have to wait on him now. Now, if I were in Marco Antonio Barrera's room, I would have immediately insisted that Marco cut his gloves off or take them off, wait, and when they tell me the Prince was ready to put his gloves back on, that's when Marco would have put his gloves back on.
So if Barrera keeps the gloves on too long, Roy Jones, while waiting through all of this, could it tire his hands?
Sometimes it can affect the circulation of your hands because the gloves are kind of tight, and the longer they're on, the more they start to affect the circulation that goes through your wrists. If he's in great condition and his mental state is okay, then it shouldn't affect him. But sometimes you want, the bad thing about it is that
sneak back over to Barrera's locker room here in a minute to get a look and see whether Marco Antonio ever took his gloves off. And in order to get there, we're going to have to break away from this picture for a moment. As you see what's happening, Prince Naseem finally getting the gloves on. Larry, let's take a look at the top featherweights in the division, where so many small details became big details. There's Barrera, waiting, poised, ready to make his ring entrance. In essence, it appears to us, he's been ready to go into the ring for close to a half hour. There's Prince Naseem, still trying to get comfortable with the right-hand glove. George, tell me the truth. Is this gamesmanship, or do you believe every second of what Emmanuel Steward said about Naz's discomfort with the gloves?
Yeah, a lot of this is just a lot of things you carry on when you're champion of the world, and these guys are pretty superstitious. One glove is this, another glove is that. They got to go back and redo everything. You don't want to mess with anything if you're a winner and never been defeated. And that's what Nas is having to deal with now. One wrong move and he thinks he could throw everything off. Did I put on the left sock? I got to take it off and put the right sock back on first. Those kind of things.
Now what about this, George? Hitting the pads.
When you don't feel right, you just can't do it. And this is what he's been allowed to do. He's fought in London and England and all over the country, and he's been able to get away with everything. Now he figures, why not here?
What about Barrera simply standing still now as he waits to enter the ring?
Make him relax. Make Barrera relax. Let him take some of the edge off of everything that he's got planned. You may be able to have an easier fight. He hasn't shown any yet, but hey, it can work in a minute or two.
You talk about unruffled. If there's ever anybody who is going to show composure regardless of what's happening inside, this is the guy. This is the ultimate poker face in our sport.
He's been at it since he's 15 years old. I'm sure he's seen a lot, including delays before fights. And 15 seconds after the fight starts, if not sooner, we'll all forget all of this.
But if he ever stumps his feet as if to say, I'm tired of this, that's what the Prince can get out of it, and that's what he's looking for, hoping for.
But he was prepared for delays before this fight because of the Prince's act, so he may think that this is all part of that.
This is what you want to do, make him prepared for the unpreparedness. Unprepare him again.
Did you ever leave a fight in the dressing room?
A lot of times. You got to catch up with it. You can lose it right there in the dressing room as much as win it. Too much thinking, too much time to think. You haven't practiced all of this thinking that much, and they can get away from you.
Marco Antonio Barrera, born and raised in a suburb north of Mexico City, son of a movie set designer. As boxers go, this guy comes from an upper crust background. His his followers from Mexico City tend to have an entirely different character than, for instance, the crowds that come to Vegas.
Well, you know, there's a big answer that we have standing in this position for such a long time as we do, from fight to fight. You have to recover the next day from this. He's having to do the same thing, and he's got to get in the ring and fight. It's not good for a challenger. Not good at all.
All right. If you're a follower of TVKO's telecasts, my next words will give you a positive clue. Tail of the tape for Prince Naseem Hamed and Marco Antonio Barrera. They are equal in age at 27, though Barrera's been a boxing professional ever since he was 15 years old. 4-inch height advantage for Barrera, or is it an advantage given Hamed's elusiveness? 7-inch reach, edge for Barrera. And they weighed in at a half-pound under in Barrera's case, right at the limit for featherweights in Hamed's case. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Here's a look at their activity. Throw roughly the same number of punches. Barrera's a little bit more accurate. Hamed looking for the big punch. Power punch-wise, once again, we see Barrera, who is a hooking type fighter, throws a lot of hooks, throws more of them. Hamed, definitely the big one-punch puncher.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Prince Naseem Hamed Marco Antonio Barrera fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
And as you finish up, Harold, an impatient Marco Antonio Barrera continues to wait as Prince Naseem Hamed's people bring some preliminary stuff into the ring, and now here comes Barrera.
Watch your right sides. Let's go, speed.
Barrera prepared for this fight with a brilliant performance against Jesus Salud of the Philippines on December 1 of last year. Questions about Barrera's physical recovery from his stunning war with Eric Morales last year seemed to be settled on that evening here in December, as he looked as good as he's ever looked against Salud. The 2 losses to Junior Jones, the loss to Morales in a fight that most ringside observers felt Barrera had deserved to win. 38 KOs, many of them produced by his vicious left hook to the body. The chant is Marco, Marco, Marco. And here comes Naz. The world prepares to survive another Prince Naseem entrance.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar kabira. Walhamdulillah. على محمد وآله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
And now let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand Hotel Casino, the city of entertainment here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Prince Promotions, along with Let's Get It On Promotions and the MGM Grand are proud to present the two best featherweights in the world. It's 12 rounds of boxing for the featherweight championship of the world. Approved by the International Boxing Organization and sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem, Vice Chairman Dr. Luther Mack, Commissioners Amy Ayoub, Glenn Carano, and Dr. Flip Homansky. The scoring for this bout will be done on the 10-point system per round, and the three judges assigned to ringside are Dwayne Ford, Chuck Jampa, and Patricia Jorman Manning. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action inside the ring, working for the 140th time as a referee in a title fight, Joe Cortez. And now, for the standing room only crowd in attendance here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trimmed with silver. He weighed in at 125.5 pounds. In his professional boxing career, he has been victorious 52 times, and 38 of those victories have ended by knockout. Only 3 times in 55 bouts has he been defeated. This two-time champion comes here tonight ready and determined to show all that he is not only the best featherweight in the world, but among the best fighters in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the two-time world champion, Damas y Caballeros de Ciudad de Mexico, the baby-face assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the leopard with Adidas trim and weighing 126 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one, consisting of 35 bouts, 35 victories, including 31 knockouts. And he is rated by most experts as, pound for pound, the most devastating puncher in boxing today. He is a deeply religious man who tonight dedicates his effort to all Muslims and every believer around the world. And at this time, to honor his father and family heritage, he is requested to say a few words.
Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may translate, I bear witness there is only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. Peace and blessings be upon him. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sheffield, England, presenting the 3-time undefeated featherweight champion of the world, boxing's royalty, Prince Naseem.
Los calzones muy altos, ¿eh?
gentlemen, we went over the rules of the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. No rough tactics. These strikes here are a little high. These strikes they're a little high also. Punches here are still good. Give me a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.
Barrera believes that a victory would make him a hero in Mexico. The Prince believes that a victory will earn him recognition as a great fighter as well as a great showman. The stakes couldn't be higher.
And a quick word about the tactical face-off. Prince Naseem is a southpaw who usually dispenses with the jab relatively early, squares his shoulders, and throws power punches. Marco Antonio Barrera is a conventional fighter, but by far his biggest weapon is the left hook, especially to the body.
Boy, they've got one of the most straight-laced referees in the business. Joe Cortez. It's not going to take a lot of foolishness, so be careful of the disqualification. Barrera's got to make certain that he stays solid in every round with a good body shot. Get this guy off of his feet, moving away from you. And the Prince has got to come out of his trick bag and make Barrera try to be a showman as well.
Barrera boxing, not just waiting in. Gets to the body, wobbles nails with a left hook upstairs.
The one thing you don't want to get into is a slugging match with the Prince.
It all looks so good at the start. He looks off balance. You hit him with your jab. It shows an effect. You begin to feel like, I can do this easily. That's what Kevin Kelly thought.
Ahmed was momentarily dazed, I thought. Conned his way out of it. Took some good shots. He's back on his feet.
But he allowed Barrera to taste his power just a little bit.
And picking his spots.
It's a very interesting choice of fight plans by Barrera, and he's making it work very effectively in round one. He's landed 2 big left hooks upstairs and a couple of shots to the body. Naz hasn't done any real damage.
And that left hook that Barrera landed was a hurting left hook. Those are the kinds that make you stop and wonder what in the world you're in the ring with, or who.
Round one is all Barrera. Prince Naseem takes several power shots from the Mexican star.
Get the other bucket of him. He's catching the motion with his left hook. See what you're doing is keeping your hands up.
In Barrera's corner, our interpreter is Ray Torres.
Good work, Marcos. Barrera fighting an intelligent, measured fighter against an awkward fighter. Briefly dazed him early in the round, later came on to land those hard jabs.
George, in round one, The Barrera crowd was going wild every time he connected with Naz because Naz's head swivels around as though on a pedestal of some sort. Is it solely because Naz's balance is so bad that he looks to be affected by every power punch?
Absolutely. He's always off balance. That's why you can catch him with the looping shots.
A warning because Naz threw a backhand.
Joe Cortez is quicker than any referee to stop Prince Naseem from backhanding with his jab.
And the Prince has got a little whelp under the eye there. That may be a changing factor when the corner goes into the corner. It may not be able to give advice. You got to work on his eye.
Excellent right hand body shot by Barrera. And you can see the mouse under Naz's right eye as George pointed it out.
Now he's got Barrera clowning a little bit. That's what you want. That's what you want if you were the master at that kind of thing. Get the guy stepping into new waters.
English crowd chanting Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
And that's the thing about being in the dressing room so long with all of that playing around. Someone is going to come out very cold, and it was the Prince this time.
Notice that Barrera, when they're in close, has his head, keeps his hands very high, very aware of Hamed's punching power.
Barrera's got to make certain when he throws his shots that he's at home. Don't go lunging out there.
Shades of the Cesar Soto bout in Detroit as Barrera is either pulled down by Hamed or pushes him down. Mark Ratner comes up onto the ring apron.
What happened there was Hamed lunged at him into the clinch and tried to throw him off balance, and Barrera responded.
I don't want any rope tactics.
Have you ever seen a police officer put his hand on a fighter during a fight, George? I don't think I've seen that before.
Well, the police better be very careful tonight. There's a crowd that could be easily into the ring.
Prince Naseem beginning to become more active. George Foreman referred earlier in the round to the long delay that preceded the fighter entrances here. A delay of an hour as Prince Naseem Hamed had his glove wrapped, rewrapped, and put on 2 or 3 times before finally coming into the ring. Hard left hand by Prince Naseem, countering Barrera inside.
The Prince is the aggressor.
Right hand on a left by Barrera, rocking Naz back.
I didn't expect to see the Prince being the aggressor this early.
And Barrera countering him. Mostly marked by the wrestling incident as both fighters wound up on the canvas together.
Perfect. Now you got to fight your type of fight. That's what you want now. You got to cut all this. That's what you want. But keep backing them up. You're getting them confused. Keep backing them up. And you know the key shot when he saws that weak jab like that, bam, right through the center. Okay. Let him start.
Marco, the jab. That's your key. You got to keep it. You're more intelligent than him. Much more intelligent than him. Then lift up your head and keep working. You're doing great.
You're not pelea limpia. Okay, no quiero pelea sucia, ¿entiendes? All right.
A review of the wrestling incident. There you see on off balance, Hamed jumps into Barrera. Barrera holds him by the waist. They dance around and fall to the canvas.
And I think Barrera's big complaint was that Naz wrapped his arm around the back of his neck.
I think the big complaint is that he made him wait for a long time in that dressing room. He's unsteady about it. He doesn't like it.
Round 2 was fought at a slow pace. 35 punches thrown by Hamed, 31 by Barrera. That is the kind of pace at which Prince Naseem wants to fight. That's why Emmanuel Steward said perfect when he came back to the corner.
Barrera is allowing Hamed to create and make the fight. He's not initiating anything. Just sits and wait to counter. That could be good, could be very bad.
Is it out of respect for Naseem's power that Barrera is fighting the way he is?
I think, Jim, it's because they feel that Naseem is more effective as a counterpuncher rather than taking the lead. And they're testing him in this way.
No, he's hesitant because he's reluctant. That's what he's been. If you're a good fighter like Barrera, you want to stay in there, keep the action going, and take advantage of it.
Bring on.
Blood on the nose of Marco Antonio Barrera, apparently from one of those left-hand shots by Naseem.
Naseem keeps his eyes up, his hands down, his neck is straight into the air. Why doesn't the guy charge him? He's reluctant. You must take advantage of all of these openings created by your opponent.
So while Barrera, in the weeks leading up to the fight, insisted that he had no particular respect for Naseem's power, he's fighting as though he does.
When a guy stands in front of you with his hands down and his neck up, why? What are you waiting on?
Hamed smiling at Barrera. Barrera continuing to fight at a pace which favors Prince Naseem, or at least seems to.
When the Prince gets into a good rhythm, he throws 2 rights and then a left. 2 lefts and then a right. He hasn't found his rhythm yet.
Barrera lands a jab. Prince Naseem grins. Barrera lands a right hand. Prince Naseem grins bigger.
He's like a snake charmer, that Prince. Stands in front of a good puncher like that, takes a lot of nerves.
Well, he's got enormous reflexes, and he's getting hit here, perhaps more frequently than he expected. Prince Naseem stepping into a straight left hand, glancing blow. The blood is flowing from both nostrils of Barrera.
So far, Barrera has neutralized the punching power of the Prince.
I got him under control. Yeah, baby.
You stayed in the on the ropes and he hit you. Wait, hold on. Let me work on this.
Next round.
That's it.
Next round. Okay.
And keep roughing him up. You know, when you finish up, get your punches, move his body when you finish up. You understand? Be a little more physical with it. You understand? If you throw a shot and you block it, push it with it. You understand? Start physically breaking him down now.
Big one.
In close. A right hand, then followed by a left to the nose by the Prince, is probably what drew blood from Barrera.
And that punch was probably good enough to win the round from Hamed, as the two fighters combined to land only 21 punches, 13 by the Prince, only 8 by Barrera. You heard Barrera's corner asking for more activity. They said, you stood still and he hit you. Don't do that. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I got it 2 rounds to 129-28. Prince Naseem Hamed. He was just a busier guy in rounds 2 and 3. I don't think Marco threw enough punches. Jim, what Marco Antonio Barrera is doing in this fight is this. He's moving to the left to stay outside of the Prince's lead foot. The Prince is a southpaw. By going to the left, you make him reach with his left hand, which is his power punch. So Barrera's theory in this fight is to move to the left, stay away from that left hand.
Big left hand by Barrera inside. Stuns Prince Naseem. Naz smiling, but there's no question he was hurt by that left.
I have it 2 rounds to 1 for Barrera.
The Prince is going to get hit a lot because he falls asleep all the time, playing around.
He gets hit because he's off balance, George. And a composed, balanced fighter like Barrera
is not off balance, Larry. You just can't measure this guy's movement with your orthodox boxer. He's only off balance when he's doing something that the orthodox boxer is doing. He hasn't got in one position yet. Ooh.
He gets hit because Barrera is an excellent boxer who steps inside and asserts himself, as he did right there.
That's for sure.
Nice jab and a straight punch to the body by the Prince, who seems fully recovered from those earlier blows.
when the Prince seems like he has this guy under control, he falls asleep, doesn't pay any attention to what he's doing, and he pays because the guy Barrera is a puncher.
No, George, because the guy Barrera is a terrific fighter, and you can't relax against a fighter like him. You might get away with it against lesser fighters.
Now you see the Prince watching, steps back like a cat, and recovers real good.
Barrera ringing the right hand shot to the body.
That right hand was the best shot for the Prince. Good right hand.
He seems to be throwing one punch at a time, George.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's what happens when you're a puncher. You don't believe in your combination because you think you can take a guy out with one shot.
Shooting the straight left down the middle. That's what Prince Naseem wants to do. Barrera goes to the body.
Every round, Barrera should send him to the corner hurt with a good body shot.
In round 4, Marco Antonio Barrera landed the more telling blows.
We are definitely behind on points. We are behind on points. It's 3 rounds to 1. That's the score. Don't get here. See, when you're getting hit, it may not be that much, but your head is up, so it looks bad to the ground. And he's catching you with one punch. The left hook. Every time you come in, he's catching you with the left hook. You're coming in from here, and you're getting caught.
Nice and controlled. You got it. Just, you know, move around. You're doing well, and you're winning, Marcus. You need to move, throw more jabs, but you're winning.
Very composed, Barrera.
That was a headbutt there.
Right hand inside. But the most important thing so far is he has stayed away from the Prince's power.
In fact, he's been so scrupulous about staying away from the Prince's power that he doesn't follow up when he lands a good shot. In the last round, Barrera twice landed good shots, didn't step in to try to follow up with anything. Hunt and Peck were both fighters ever since round 1. In the last round, Barrera landed 9 power punches to only 4 for Prince Naseem, and a couple of them were good hard shots.
A good left to the side of the head by the Prince that time. This Prince hits so hard and he believes in his power. Barrera is staying real basically in position to counter with any combination.
We've covered Prince Naseem with glory for his punching power, and justifiably so off his record. But if any fighter's been wobbled here, it isn't Barrera, it's Naz.
Too much wobbling for the Naz tonight. And Barrera is starting to connect with a left jab.
Naz with a quick combination there.
Well, you don't want to pick on a rough guy like that in the rough tactics. He can get rougher than you. I think the Prince will find that out with Barrera.
Marco Antonio Barrera focusing his eyes on the middle of Prince Naseem's chest and occasionally throwing straight right hands to the body.
Now it has become a chess game. The Prince knows that his left hand, his big left hand, has been unsuccessful so far, and they're both looking to find the right way to approach each other, standing in the middle of the ring.
Barrera's left jab has been the best thing he's had tonight. Whenever he throws his left jab, it turns the fight around.
He's able to pop Naz with it. Here you see the difficulty of trying to get to Prince Naseem's body, although Barrera gets a right hand in there. For the most part, Barrera has been feinting toward the body because as you start forward, Naz is gone. Big left hand by Prince Naseem.
You know, he was right in the pocket that time. He didn't jump away as Barrera thought he would. He just stepped in with that left cross. That's what it was.
Yep. Well done, George.
This guy has just got the reflexes of a cobra.
Of a crouching tiger.
Something like that.
Of a hidden dragon.
Well, you have to give this guy those rounds. What? You're not that one is round. Listen, you listen. You let it.
Way behind on points. Okay. This fight goes the way it's going right now, you lose your championship. You know, he's going to have to fight. You know, see, every time you get hit with a little light punch, your head is up, and therefore it looks much worse than it is. You understand?
Marco, your jab, you can control him with the jab. Feint him and use the jab to keep him at bay.
Hamed may have won this round. Short left hand. Didn't get his full extension, shoulders and hips into it.
Let's go.
Well, as Larry said, it has become a chess match. Generally speaking, featherweights average throwing about 60 punches per round. Your average run-of-the-mill club featherweight might throw 60 punches in a round. In this fight, by CompuBox numbers, Prince Naseem Hamed is averaging 30 punches per round, and Barrera 39. So they're throwing about half the average number of punches for featherweights.
And Barrera is doing the boxing this time. A good job of boxing.
But you've heard Emmanuel Steward's opinion, as he has now told Prince Naseem in 2 consecutive between rounds periods, you're losing the fight, you're falling way behind. If this keeps going this way, you've lost your championship.
Not only so, he made him tuck his head just a little bit by telling him it looks more like he's doing more damage to you, rather than saying, there you are.
But there it is.
Your head is too straight up.
The head was up, Barrera landed a right. As his chin flung out to the side, that means points. Going to a conventional stance, trying to set up a right hand, or maybe wanting to step forward with the left.
Barrera goes to the body real good with a left jab. Hamed is best keeping the southpaw position to stay away from that jab.
As the head went into the conventional stance, Barrera got up on his toes, ready to throw more jabs.
Barrera kept saying for weeks he was going to attack. You wonder whether the Prince has been thrown off.
Huge left hand by Barrera there. Well, certainly those of us at ringside have been flummoxed because Barrera was convincing about the notion that he would go forward and make it a war, and he's done anything but.
He's done a good job of actually boxing tonight. He lands the better jabs, straight right hands, he lands the better.
He has confounded the experts, and right now he's confounding Prince Naseem.
Naseem, wake up back here, punch. Let's go.
And as the rounds go by, if Barrera continues to pile up points, you might have the specter of Prince Naseem having to go try to hunt him down in the late rounds.
He's already trying that. You don't follow a puncher around trying to get a knockout. You let the puncher come to you.
Let's go.
That was lovely. While they were in close in a clinch, Hamed threw a little bit of left hand at him, and Barrera came right back at him. That's why he is Barrera.
Lennox Lewis watching his English mate, Prince Naseem Hamed, the chess-playing heavyweight champion, perhaps critiquing the chess match for those sitting near him.
Let's let your power shots go. So your volume of punches is down too much. You're waiting, you get them in position, you get that, you let him jab and you slip it right here, but you won't do this and come back with the left. Let the big shots go. Don't worry about boxing. Let your big shots go. You punch too hard.
Marco, a little more pressure. Make sure you throw that left hook to the liver. That's going to be a good punch for you. You got to put some pressure. Be first.
That little by-play on the clinch will tell you that Hamed has found out he's in with a true professional. Hamed, ever dangerous, however. If there's one fighter here who figures to be able to end the fight or begin to end it with a punch, it is still Hamed. But you cannot depend on one hand, one punch, with a skilled fighter like Barrera.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I got it going back and forth. 57, 3 rounds apiece. When Marco Antonio Barrera opens up, he does real well. The rounds he loses, he just doesn't throw enough punches. He really should move his hands more, Jim. Those 3 rounds I got him losing just because of inactivity.
All right.
I have him ahead 4 rounds to 2.
I started to say, even though Barrera's corner believes they're ahead in the fight, and Emmanuel Steward tells Prince Naseem that he's behind in the fight, Harold Letterman has it even. In round 6 by CompuBox numbers, Hamed was only 8 of 28. Barrera 16 of 51, picking up the pace.
That's what you do. A guy expects you to attack him and attack him, and you box him. And then when he's depend on your boxing him, you start fighting. That's what Barrera is doing. He's pacing himself.
Barrera with a right to the belly and a left upstairs. Naz grins at him. Barrera says, come on. Come on.
All right, break. Break out. Break.
That's what you want a solid fighter like Barrera doing. Clowning with a clown.
Big right hand to the body again by Barrera. No nonsense now. Emmanuel Steward said to Prince Naseem, let your big shots go. And he knows that throwing 30 punches around isn't likely to get it done. Naz beginning to jab more frequently.
Those shots on top is not going to do it with Barrera. He's going to have to climb it, bring it down, close to the chin.
Hamed refused to concede before the fight that Barrera was the best fighter he was ever in with. I wonder what he's thinking now.
Hamed picking up the pace with his jab, throwing it more frequently, landing it more often. That was a slap by Barrera. Hard shot with the left. Barrera on move.
Boy, he's throwing these sledgehammers type shots. They haven't been able to get square in the middle yet, but he's starting to pick up the power.
I think I saw blood from the prince's nose. The royal nose with some royal blood.
Couple of left jabs onto the royal chin. Interesting rounds. Alicia Hamed, wife of the prince, looking urgent and not entirely confident as she sits at ringside and roots for his Nasdaq.
Come on, take a deep breath. Okay, I want you to focus now, okay? 1, 2, 1. Right?
Good round for Barrera, according to CompuBox numbers.
We need to throw the left hand, right? You're holding too much on it, right, pa? Dame la poquita. You're holding too much with it, right? We have to let it go. Okay. All right, pa? We're going to fight from your shoulders now, okay? Yeah.
Marco, you got to keep repeating that jab. That jab is what's going to do it for you.
El jab!
The jab! That's what you need. The jab, the jab, the jab. Don't stop throwing it.
This is the jab, jab, double jab. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, particularly not when Naz's chin and head are bouncing around to make these punches look even more effective than they are. Through round 7, it appears, at least our eyes, that Marco Antonio Barrera has fought an effective tactical fight, limiting Prince Naseem's chances to get off with big shots and landing enough of his own to appear to take a lead on the scorecards. Harold Letterman still has them only a point apart.
I think the Prince corner didn't see that Prince was moving on and starting to take charge of the fight a little bit. They may have misinformed him that round. Now for the first time, you see the Prince getting closer and closer to the ropes with his back himself. Early on, he had Barrera moving.
Barrera following his corner's instructions perfectly. Jab, 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 jab.
Left hand partially blocked. One landed solidly. And a right to the body by Prince Naseem. Barrera came back low.
I didn't think that punch was low.
Cortez did.
Which is the only thing that counts.
My point.
Thing about Prince, when he doesn't have anything else, he's got power.
And he lands another left hand upstairs. Barrera suddenly dispensing with the jab. Naz stalking and trying to land that left cross.
Counter punch, counter punch. You just got to finish up Prince. When Prince throws one shot, it doesn't even matter if he comes back with another. He's got to finish up with his right hand. He throws a two-punch combination, he can get a knockdown.
But he's off balance, George. Not with his feet always, but with his body, the way he bends his body. It's effective against most fighters, against all fighters, until Barrera, but Barrera is so balanced, so on top of him.
Well, it's like a snake and a mongoose. One's off balance if he's doing what the mongoose doing, he's off balance. This guy's watching everything going on to Prince. He just got hit that time because he didn't come back with his right hand, left hand. You gotta finish up. 1, 2, 3, and he's in business.
One, 2, 3, 4 more rounds, and the Prince will be out of business if he doesn't change the course of this fight.
He's not going to win throwing 25 punches in a round.
You're getting in front of him and stopping and letting him get out first. And every time you let him throw that punch, this is out here, you slip, shoot the left hand if you can. Go to him and make him punch, and once he punches, let the left.
Best punch of the round, right here. Barrera goes under a left, comes over with his right.
Got to finish up.
Overall CompuBox numbers through 8 rounds, and it goes without saying that CompuBox punch stats are not the be-all and end-all, but they do provide a numerical blueprint. Prince Naseem Hamed, 83 out of 246. Marco Antonio Barrera, 125 out of 333. Barrera throwing significantly more, landing significantly more. Barrera 62 to 36 edge in power connects. Round 9 begins.
The first round, the Prince is trying to keep his right foot on the outside of Barrera for a change. He hadn't been worried about that early on. You see the Prince just will not finish up with a shot. 1, 2, 3, and he's in business.
George, it appears that every time the Prince has a new tactic to try, Barrera has an answer for it.
He never tries throwing one combination, the Prince does. He comes back, he can do it. He's got to come back with some kind of punch. You see, one shot out. Now the Prince has got himself in a position where he has to look for a knockout, which is when you can get knocked out. Still didn't come back with another. Now the Prince has got his rhythm going just a little bit.
Blood trickling from the right nostril of Barrera.
The corner's been doing a good job with Barrera of keeping the bleeding down. They stop it instantly.
Very professional. Left hook to the body by Marco Antonio Barrera.
Break out, break out. Break out, break out.
Ahmed is not doing a lot of left hands.
Barrera is looking at the floor, trying to distract Barrera. Fat chance.
Left hook upstairs by Barrera. As if to say, I'm not fooled by your antics.
Barrera is one tough cookie.
Doggone right. Making faces at Barrera, but faces don't get you points on the scorecards. And that was another round won by Marco Antonio Barrera, in my personal estimation.
I know we're going to take him out right now, but listen, not with one single shot, right, Mike? We're going to concentrate more on his body, okay? We have to work that body. He's on his way down, and you know it. You already saw it, right?
How we doing here?
Right, we're going to go to watch those logos, okay, Joe?
We got 3 rounds to go. You're going to have to punch. Every punch has knockout on it. You understand? All you got to do is land one shot there. You may miss 3, 4, but if you land the 5th shot, you still can knock this down. You got to go for the knockout. Put everything you do.
One problem with Ahmed, he throws that big left hand. When he misses, he is off balance, off the floor. He is in against a complete, experienced, yet still in his prime professional fighter from a culture of professional fighters.
Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, 6-3, 87, 84, Marco Antonio Barrera. Jim, I think he's won the last 4 rounds because he's opened up, thrown power shots, hurt the Prince, landed the real telling shots. The Prince is not throwing that left hand at all. You haven't seen a real hard left hand for the Prince, at least in the last 4 or 5 rounds. So Marco Antonio Barrera really winning this fight the last 4 rounds.
He's thrown the left hand, but he hasn't thrown anything with it. He's missed it. He's depending on one punch too much, George.
Well, this corner for the first time told him to put together 5 shots. And I believe him. If he can put together a combination as he just did, things can change. But he's going for 1 shot.
He can't. Barrera is countering him too well. He will
That's
not
the way
put
you beat
together
a counter
5
puncher
shots.
by throwing combinations. That's the way you stop the counter. Throw combinations.
He's not a combination puncher, George.
He's a 1 punch at a time slugger who's getting hit too frequently to get it done here. There's a big left hand. Barrera covering up.
Barrera's playing possum.
There's a hard right hand by Naseem. And Barrera comes back with 2 left hand shots of his own. We could have fireworks down the stretch if Prince Naseem feels the urgency of this situation. Can you believe the odds on this fight were 3.5 to 1? Can you believe 28 out of 30 writers picked Ahmed? Where is the respect for Marco Antonio Barrera?
Well, but it's there right now. I don't know how you could dismiss a fighter of Barrera's class that easily.
I'm sure he was wondering the same thing.
Barrera's doing a good job. He stays on balance. Doesn't lunge out now. He's making the Prince reach in. waiting for a counter punch. The Prince still going for 1 point at a time, 1 shot at a time.
The combinations have been thrown by Barrera. 10 rounds in the books. A very nervous Alicia Hamed, mother of 2.
That was your round.
Go on ahead.
Okay? You take it to him where you go. That was your round. Okay? You got 2 rounds. 2 rounds. Okay? 2 rounds. 6 minutes. Keep punching down. Cooking the way you go. Power punching. And you're walking it down now. You understand? Yeah. Everything for power.
Yeah.
Don't throw with just 1 punch. Throw a combination. Be quick about it. Throw more punches. And if the last one, make sure that it goes in with some force. Make sure you want to hit him hard in the inside. Don't let him think. Don't let him relax.
Seconds out. Seconds out. Let's clear the corner.
6 minutes left for Prince Naseem Hamed to try to rescue his unbeaten record and his superstar status. 6 minutes left for Marco Antonio Barrera to try to rise to the top of the featherweight heap. Hard right hand by Barrera.
All right, break out, clean, break out, here you go.
I feel he's way behind, and even punches.
Break clean, limpio. Let's go, let me clean out, guys.
Larry Merchant is in Prince Naseem's corner with Emmanuel Steward. Larry, what's up?
Emmanuel, do you believe that the Prince needs a knockout to win this fight?
Beyond a doubt, I definitely believe he needs a knockout, and I have told him as such. But see, even I don't think he's ever been hurt in a fight, but when he gets hit, his head is up so to the point that it looks so bad to the crowd. I definitely feel that he's knocking out.
But is this the Barrera that you were concerned about, who you saw in his last fight and said this is a different fighter?
Yes, it is a very determined fighter, and after you punch, he counter punches. Immediately he comes right back with punches after you finish. And he seems to be very focused and very well trained from Naz. Naz has got to try to land a big knockout punch, even at the risk of possibly being knocked out himself.
Thank you.
And in round 11, despite the scenario that Emmanuel Steward just quoted to you, it is Marco Antonio Barrera who has been the aggressor.
He's not the aggressor. The Prince is bringing the fight to him. He's just landing more shots.
Well, he's getting the chances to get off, I guess is what I mean here, George.
But he's not the aggressor by any means.
No, I hear what you're saying. He's taking advantage of Naz's aggression to turn it against him.
And Naz will not come back with any shot.
Huge right hand by Barrera.
All right, break out, clean, break out.
After Prince Naseem had the edge in power shots in round 10, Marco Antonio Barrera has landed several big shots in this round. And the English crowd is seated and quiet.
The improvisational style that the Prince has developed since he was a boy is being exposed by a well-schooled boxer, puncher, brawler.
The Prince always seemed to think there is a chance to get a knockout.
Well, there is, George. There is. But not when he's running like that. Not when your fight plan becomes a flight plan.
Short left hand inside by Hamed landed. Barrera wrestles the Prince into the ropes. They're 3 minutes away from the conclusion.
Last and final round, touch him up.
Just in case you want to know officially.
Let's get some more. You got to keep boxing. Just the same way you've been doing it. This is the last round, and All you got to do is box them.
You can't back up. You've got to bend down and go to him with short punches.
From Antonio Barrera. He landed 32 out of 59 punches to 10 of only 24 for Prince Naseem. Harold Letterman, how do you have it going to the 12th?
Hey, Jim, 106, 103, 7 rounds to 4, Marco Antonio Barrera. Jim, I got to tell you, he may have lost the 10th round, Barrera, but boy, he had a huge 11th round. So in the last 6 rounds, Marco's won 5 of them. And I tell you, I think the secret is he stayed away from Prince's big power and he landed the better shots.
Look at the right hand by Barrera. He wants to close the show with authority.
His corner told him to just box, and he's not taking that advice. He's going for it.
He's been on the wrong side of at least one decision here in Las Vegas. He doesn't want it to happen again. A reckless Prince Naseem goes charging right past Barrera.
That looked like one of his entrances flying through the sky.
If you close strong in a fight, all things can happen. So the fight is not over for the Prince. You just got to close strong.
Hold it. Okay, let's go. Don't leave, clean run, guys.
Prince is trying to figure out how can he get in one big left hand.
He's been trying to figure that out all night.
I think Barrera has already shown with his chin, one left hand won't do it.
That's true. Too much chin.
Barrera pounds Naseem into the ring post, risking disqualification. Furious at Naz's antics.
Time out. 1 point. 1 point.
And a point deduction from Barrera.
1 point. Let's go.
Unusual for a veteran fighter to have put himself in that position.
Barrera didn't want to touch any gloves. Barrera wants to hit. Big left hook by Barrera. Scintillating round for the Mexican star.
He seems to be the stronger at that weight.
Absolutely. Stronger and better. Prince Naseem Hamed told us, and every writer who had listened before the fight, that if he loses, it's because it has been written by Allah. The 12 rounds you've seen here suggest that Allah knows how to spell Barrera. B-A-R-R-E-R-A.
You should be cool on that.
His moment of truth has turned into an hour of torture.
Can there be any doubt? Tremendous celebration in Barrera's corner. And Prince Naseem is wandering around aimlessly in his own. Round 12 was all Barrera. By CompuBox numbers, he landed 33 out of 66. Hamed only 7 of 20. Of course, there was a point deduction against Barrera for this. I don't think he likes him, George.
I don't think you like him much yourself, Jim.
I like him fine. I think I have no problem with that.
You said some things I don't think you like the guy. You should be careful yourself.
What'd you score it?
Okay, Jim, when you lose a point and you win the round, it becomes a 9-9 round. So 115, 112, 7-4, 1 even. Marco Antonio Barrera, he won that 12th round big. Cortez took away a point. In our last 7 rounds, he certainly won 6 of them. Marco Antonio Barrera, down the stretch, just landed the cleaner, harder shots. No doubt about it.
I knew it was worth it. Vince! Very good.
Let's take it up to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we go to the scorecards. Dwayne Ford scores it 115 to 112. Chuck Champa has it 116 to 111. And Patricia Jarman Manning scores it 115 to 112. All for the winner by unanimous decision, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Final CompuBox numbers, and these numbers were widened considerably in the last 2 rounds of the fight. When Barrera posted huge advantages, he winds up landing 87 more punches than Prince Naseem, throwing 144 more punches than Naz, landing at a higher connect rate. There will also be an edge for Barrera in power punches. Even though Naz didn't throw that many jabs, he landed 69 of 167 power punches. Barrera landing 60 more, throwing 96 more, and landing almost half his power punches against the Prince. Larry Merchant stands by with Marco Antonio.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Marco Antonio, for a great fight. You said before the fight you were going to attack, attack, attack. Did you know you were going to box him?
No, si yo recuerdo, I remember that. Like when I fight, I put pressure all the time. But in the gym, we work, move fast all the time because Hamed is paying my steel, put pressure, they change in the fight.
He said they changed the style because they knew that he was expecting a lot of pressure, but he surprised everybody.
Was the secret to the fight for you to stay away from his powerful left hand? And how did you plan and achieve that?
El secreto de la pelea para ti era mantenerte afuera del poder de la mano zurda de él. ¿Y cómo fue que tú hiciste eso?
Bueno, lo que pasa es que él no pega tan duro como decían, pero sí. De hecho, trabajamos 6 semanas viendo videos de él para hacer un buen trabajo. Gracias a Oscar Maldonado, que fue el que siempre estuvo platicando conmigo, siempre me dijo cómo pelear. Gracias a él y a todos salió todo bien.
The main thing was, he doesn't hit as hard as people think that he does. And the thing was, thanks to Oscar Maldonado, he stuck with me and made me get in great, great condition. And that was, you see the end result.
What was your plan to avoid his left hand and make him pay every time he missed it?
¿Cuál era el plan tú? Evitar su mano zurda y hacer que él pagara cada vez que fallara.
Exactamente, porque él en todos sus videos vi que él contrarrestaba y donde noqueaba era cuando los agarraba entrando, entonces le cambiamos que él entrara para yo poder meter mis golpes.
Yeah. I've always seen him be a counter puncher, and when you charge him and you miss, and he will counter punch you. This time we tricked him.
Do you think that, were you ever hurt in the fight at all?
¿Estabas lastimado en alguna vez?
No, en ningún momento. Hicimos una muy buena preparación. Espero que ahora la gente sí crea en mí.
Yeah. No, not at all. I was never hurt. And I wish that people now would believe in me.
There were a couple of times when he seemed dazed. Why couldn't you finish him off? Did you not want to take any risks that weren't necessary?
Habían varias veces que le estaba un poco lastimado, estaba un poco mareado. ¿Por qué fue que tú no lo terminaste?
Porque eso era cuando él noqueaba, si te das cuenta en sus videos, cuando él está noqueado, todo el mundo se avienta pensando que ya está, pero no, se recupera y regresa rápido.
That's precisely why we didn't charge him and get careless, because he does knock you out when he's kind of daisy like that, and we didn't want to take that chance.
How do you see this as a victory, both for you and for your country, where there are so many outstanding fighters like yourself?
¿Cómo tú ves esta victoria también como tú, para tu país, donde hay tantos grandes peleadores?
Bueno, la verdad está muy feliz. Quiero mandar un saludo a todo México que vio esa pelea. Dar las gracias a toda mi gente y dar las gracias a Ricardo Maldonado, porque ganando, él me regala un Mercedes-Benz. Ahí está.
Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody in Mexico, and I'm grateful to everybody. And I want to thank especially Ricardo Maldonado, because he promised me a Mercedes if I won, and I got one.
What's next? Do you want the rematch with Eric Morales?
¿Cuál es lo próximo? ¿Con quién quieres pelear? ¿La revancha con Morales?
No sé, la verdad vamos a tomar un descanso, trabajamos muy duro, vamos a pensar qué sigue. Voy a hablar con el señor Ricardo Maldonado a ver si subo de peso. Digo, si me quedo en 26 o bajo a las 22.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We're going to see. I'm going to talk to Maldonado. We're going to take a long rest, and we're going to see. Am I going to stay at a 26-pound or go back down to 122?
Thank you very much for a terrific fight, champ.
Al contrario, quiero darle a usted las gracias porque siempre ha sido un buen comentarista. Espero le haya gustado la pelea.
He wants to thank you especially because you're a wonderful interviewer, and I hope you like the fight.
Viva México.
Thank you very much.
Viva México.
Jim?
Thank you, Larry. When Marco Antonio Barrera was knocked out by Junior Jones in their first fight, he came back in the second fight and boxed cautiously against Jones, trying to change the nature of the fight. He didn't get that decision, and because of that disappointment, most of us thought that he wouldn't box tonight, but rather would go in and try to destroy Hamed in a brawl. He fooled us, and by fooling us, he won. Now let's go back to Prince Naseem Hamed with Larry Merchant.
Prince, tough fight for you. Why was this fight different for you than all the other fights you fought?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's as I've told you before, Larry, but the answer you give me is you can't interview Allah. The fact is, my faith is still there to the maximum. If that's the way it's written for a man to go, that's the way it's written from Allah. I'm happy. I'm still confident. The fact is, he couldn't drop me. He couldn't knock me out. And I'm going out at this ring like a champion still. At the end of the day, I give him all congratulations and all the best of all the success in the world to him in the future. And what can I say? I only have to get straight back in the gym and get back again like champions do. Come back and fight again. It's written from Allah for that to happen, and I accept what is written. That's all I can say.
Was the delay coming into the fight, do you think it had any effect on you?
No. No delay made no effect. The fact is, I got in, the guy boxed probably better than me tonight, and that's it.
Did he surprise you by the fact that he didn't charge you and that he did box you and make you be more aggressive?
I knew he weren't going to charge me. He would have definitely got knocked out if he'd have charged me. But the fact is, he's the pure winner tonight. I congratulate him. And that's it. He didn't plan them tactics. He planned to box. And his boxing skills paid off.
Why couldn't you land your big left hand more often and more convincingly?
I don't. He seemed to have quite a few things covered there. And basically every time I threw it, I wasn't really too comfortable with throwing it often. But when I did, it connected sometimes. But, you know, that's just the way it goes.
How does this affect your career, your self-image as the greatest, as a guy who was going to retire undefeated?
Muhammad Rasulullah it's Muhammad Rasulullah, and Allah is the greatest, you know. Muhammad Rasulullah is the final messenger, and basically I'm just so happy that 12 rounds was made tonight in no problem at all. I trained hard for the fight.
But how is it going to affect your career, do you think?
How can it affect me? Fighters get beat. He's been knocked out. He's been beat twice. This is my first time. I'll come back and beat him. I ain't got a problem.
Are you saying you want a rematch?
Am I saying I want a rematch? The fact is, I've got a rematch clause in my contract. I'm getting a rematch.
When do you want to fight him again?
It's not that I want one. I'm getting one. When do I want to fight again? I don't know, maybe at the end of the year. I mean, I'm going to get back in. I'm going to have a nice, comfortable time with my wife and my kids. Trust me, this is the way I feel at this moment in time. I'm happy that I've done 12 rounds and come out safe. Allah has let me nice and safe, and I've come out well. The fact is, I've lost the fight. I accept the loss. I accept the loss, and I accept it written from me, from Allah. That's the way a real fighter and a real man and a real champion goes out. Right. But I will return.
Thank you very much, Prince.
That's why you see a smile on my face.
Jim?
All right. Thank you very much, Larry. So the words there, George, of Prince Naseem Hamed as he responds to his first taste of defeat. Question, will he change the style now, tighten up, having seen what happened here tonight? And Emmanuel Steward kept making the point that because his head is up and his neck is extended, the punches look like they do more damage than would otherwise be the case. Will he change that?
Well, you can't do all that stuff in a boxing match. You got to correct all those things in the gym. And you take a note from Oscar De La Hoya. You got to change regimes here. The whole administration has to be changed. And he can come back. He can do it, no doubt about it. He was only about 2 combinations away from winning. But Barrera, what a tough cookie.
And what a brilliant fight plan, huh, George?
Boy, he boxed the puncher. He boxed him well. He had me ducking and dodging. That's one of those good things to see in a boxing match.
Terrific performance by an outstanding professional fighter. Well-deserved victory for Marco Antonio Barrera. Let's go back upstairs to James Brown.
All right, Jim, make no mistake about it. It was indeed impressive. And, Roy, I go back to the comments you made at the top of the show. I asked you, under what conditions could Barrera win? And you said?
A long fight. That was obvious. He's the boxer. Hamed was the puncher. If he goes into the long fight, the body shot started to affect Hamed. The combinations Hamed wasn't throwing like he usually does because the body shots took everything out of him. Barrera was a great counterpuncher. He boxed the fighter. He fought the perfect fight.
The game plan was excellent indeed, but you also said you liked something about Barrera's attitude when Hamed hit him during the break.
Yeah, there were several times when Hamed was trying to step in as champion and say, okay, let me bully this guy a little bit to make him back down. Then that'll boost my confidence to get ahead. But when he did it, the referee didn't say anything, so Barrera did it back. And usually the guy who retaliates is the guy who gets caught. So after that, the referee stepped in and warned both guys. And that's why, sometimes you don't want to be a dirty fighter, but you can't allow a guy to come in and bully you. You have to do what you have to do.
All right, we got the viewers to weigh in on this fight as well in terms of who they thought won the fight tonight. And the viewers impressively, overwhelmingly, of course, Marco Antonio Barrera, 94% to 6% for Naseem Hamed. I think it's important to note that during that long delay, the viewers also were logging in, and the numbers reversed from what they thought pre-fight. Pre-fight, it was 53% Hamed, and it completely flipped around 53-47 in favor of Barrera during that long wait.
The reason I think is because a lot of people started to feel as though Hamed may have been afraid because this is the biggest fight of his career. The first time he's been in Las Vegas, everything was starting to catch up to you. And a lot of times when guys get nervous, everything seems to be wrong. The hand wrap don't feel right, the gloves don't feel right, your eyelashes feel like they're tangled up. A lot of things go wrong. And when people saw that, some people I can imagine immediately figured out that that may have been a problem.
I love the subtleties that you point out. Let's visually embellish the point that you were making about the attitude that Barrera was displaying, not allowing Hamed to physically intimidate him. Take a look at what took place during the fight, Roy, here.
Right here. All right, the Prince throws a shot and an elbow, and Barrera comes right back and retaliates before the referee says anything, because if he's going to hit you on the break, hit him back on the break. Don't wait for the referee. We're fighting. That's what I try to explain to people. It's a fight. When you're engaged in competition, you don't stop until the referee comes and stops you. Like I said before, and I don't cry for spilled milk. I thank God for blessing me with what he's blessed me with, but in a disqualification loss that I had, the referee doesn't say stop. I can't stop and walk away. If this guy comes from the floor and knocks me out, then I'm out. And it's not the referee's fault, because I shouldn't have stopped till the referee pushed me out the way. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do just what Barrera did tonight. When a man does something bad to me, I do it back. Don't depend on the referee. We're fighting.
The fight was all in Marco Barrera. And again, although Barrera was taking an awfully big chance tonight, you saw him get extremely aggressive with Hamed when he took him and slammed him into the post. Take a look there, Roy, and walk us through this as well.
Once again, he came back. He knew he had him at this point, so he wanted to intimidate him a little bit. So he slams into the buckle, the corner pad, to let him know that, yeah, I know I got you now. There's no sense in you thinking you can cower me out, because you can't.
All right, macho to the max. Roy, as always, a pleasure working with you, buddy.
Thank you so much. And I do like to say, though, I do like the way that the Prince went out. He didn't make excuses.
Absolutely.
He went out like a great, true champion that he is, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Absolutely. The right kind of attitude to display indeed. All right, folks, so that wraps it up from here at the MGM Grand Garden. Hamed versus Barrera has been brought to you by the MGM Grand, the City of Entertainment, Las Vegas, Nevada, and by TVKO Pay-Per-View Entertainment from HBO. We'd also like to thank our internet partners and the following magazine partners. And so for all of us here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm James Brown saying so long for the entire TVKO crew. Our executive producer is Rick Bernstein. Tonight's broadcast was produced very ably by Dave Harmon and directed by the incomparable Mark Payton. Associate producers Thomas Odefeld and Brian Lockhart and Max Siegel. Assistant to the producer George Jakovic. Production managers John McCallie and Mike Davis. Technical supervisor Bob Hunter. And the technical director was Doug Getz. This has been a presentation of TVKO Pay-Per-View from HBO.